Thank you. I have a speech prepared by my staff. It's about 4 pages. But, you know, there are so many issues about my country that you may want to know. The situation in the Philippines is not different from your situation 100 years ago. You know, the reason why there is a ruckus, there is a rebellion fighting in the South is because of colonialism. In 1521, when Magellan, the Portuguese, was financed by King Philip of Spain to go to the Far East to conquer lands. And what is really very funny to us and insulting is that even in our history books, there is a statement there or a question which says, who discovered the Philippines? In grade 4, it is written in our books that it was Magellan. You know, even before Magellan was born, the Philippines was already there. It was a part of the Sri Visayas Empire of the Malays, majority of whom, or almost all, were Muslims. And so Magellan entered into the central Visayas area. It's the islands in between Luzon and Mindanao. And they conquered. And they bludgeoned the Philippines into submission. They brought along, I do not have anything about religion. I do not have an issue about Christianity, Islam, or whatever, Jew. But this is the historical fact. They forced upon my own people because they had the cannons, and for the first time, the natives there, my forefathers, heard the gunpowder explosion. And so it was easy for them to conquer the Visayas up to Luzon. Because at that time, it was only Mindanao who was active. And I said, we were part of the Sri Visayas Empire. But because of sheer force of arms, they had the rifles, they call it the muskets, and they had everything, explosions. And so we were forced to kneel down on our knees. Majority were converted into Christianity. I do not have to repeat to you every colonial who was gone to places. As for example, like the Middle East before. And that is why, until now, Philippines could have been a perfect country. Were it not for the fact that there is a great divide before, and that is religion. But do not believe in the stories that the Muslim Filipinos, the Moro of Mindanao, are our enemies. Because my grandmother was a Moro, a Muslim. So, do not believe. There are really an active rebellion. And that is correct. There is what you would call the rising nationalism of the original people, tribes of Mindanao, who were already 100 years before Magellan, were already Muslims, Islam. And so when they went there to further conquer the islands, they met a vicious resistance, a violent one. And so massacre after massacre after massacre. And in 1520, Treaty of Paris, the Spaniards lost to the Americans. And they ceded part of their territories, Spain. They gave it up to the Americans, like the Marianas Island, Guam. So they have Filipino names, actually they are Spanish names. And we were forced in a decree of 1887. There was a decree that we had to adopt Spanish names and surnames. That is the history. But administration after administration tried to talk about peace. And it always ended in a failure. Now is my time, so I had to talk to the communists because we are friends. Maybe I share their paradigm for poverty and the helpless people. But the situation now is really the result of imperialism. The great divide of Mindanao and the rest of the country, it's because of imperialism. We did not like it. My grandfather fought against them. The grandfather of my grandfather was maybe executed. But you know, that is how the world history was written. The Americans, the British, Italians, they came here in the Middle East and they built their industrialized nation well ahead of us, well ahead of you in development. What was their capital? It was the Arab money. In the Orient, in the Far East, where did they get their wood, mining, and all of the natural resources? They got it from us. They built their empires at the expense of the blood and resources of the poor people they conquered. Indonesia went to the Dutch. Malaysia went to the British. The Philippines went to the Americans. And we had to fight long wars. And it was given to us only after 50 bloody years of fighting. And the massacres that they... And that is why there is always the hurt. It cannot be erased just because of the passage of the years. And they would say, Mayor, that was too incorrect. Really? You just make the excuse in one simple statement? Why do you have to go to the Orient? And why did you conquer Africa and the Middle East? For what? You became rich, way ahead, and continued to rule as if you were really the owners. And that is the reason why I have to explain to you. Because you must know the dimension of the trouble there. But we are talking. Normiswari is my friend. And maybe because of the little blood in me, of my grandmother, the MI, the MN, are talking to me now, and even the communists. We do not have any trouble with the rebellions now. But what we have inherited, all of us in this world, is the violent ideology of the ISIS. They are here, they are in Mindanao, and they anointed the leader of the Abu Sayyaf. And these are the group down south that would continue to behead everybody which you see on TV. So, why? Because of they were in despair. What do we do? This is our land, the Christians are here, and they own the big ones. Why? Because at that time, no self-respecting Muslim would work for them in Mindanao. They refused to be the wage earners of the Americans. And the Americans had to call upon peoples from the Visayas and Luzon. Go to Mindanao because it is the land of promise. Through they gave us land, in their surveys, in their land, dividing it into so many, they forgot to reserve that there is the original owners, and those are the tribes of Maranao, like Secretary Kahir Alonto, Secretary Mamudjong, and a fraternity brother of mine in school, Secretary Mamao. There are a lot of Muslims in my cabinet. We were trying to work out something. And I hope that the law would be most gracious for us, the merciful would grant us peace, and we hope to succeed in our peace talks. We are ready to reconfigure the land. We are ready to concede what was lost of them. And the only thing that I ask from the Moro people is that remember that we did not know that we were all victims of imperialism. Spain stayed with us for 400 years. And the Americans stayed with us for 50 years. We were the colonized people. And that is why there is a bit of... But the Philippines today is fundamentally peaceful. The MILF under Murad and the MNLF under Nur Miswari, they are talking to us. We're trying to figure the infrastructure of how we should proceed and by what manner should be the historical injustice corrected. That is the most important thing. But in other places, Philippines is an agricultural country. We know that we can offer you so many things from the bounties of the earth. We have mining, we have everything, ore, uranium, and the South China Sea, which is being contested by so many countries. But with the movement of people there occupying the lands, I ordered my military to occupy the remaining 10 islands who are not inhabited, place our flag there, put some structures, and I said last week, I claim these islands as property of the Philippines. It's because everybody is grabbing every land there in the South China Sea. So if we do not act fast, we will end up with nothing. And so on the right side, there is the Benham Rice, and it was claimed after an American who discovered the place. Nobody discovers the sea. Everybody has seen the sea. And you start claiming there, you are crazy. So I renamed it the Philippine Ridge. And I announced to all, including to America, that this is ours. Do not come here. So now, if you go into business, the place, the Philippines, is big enough to accommodate any kind of vegetation. Of course, we have lost the woods, the trees. the early lumber companies there were not Filipinos. And if you go to America, and you would knock on the walls, and they would even say proudly, "This is Philippine mahogany." But of course, you are just there. You listen, but your heart bleeds. Because that is a wood. That was what God gave us. And so with these marauding colonizers, and they think they're still the big boss of world. They even try to impose upon us, on our small as I am, they continue to interfere, prompting me to say, "Mr. President, you can go to hell. Stop it. I will do what I have to do for my country. Do not interfere." And they threatened me with international criminal court. I said, "Fine. If that is my destiny to die for my country, I will gladly place the rope on my neck, and I would say I did it for my country." But I will not, so that I have opened the Philippines, not only to the familiar business, and even the mining and all. It's open for everybody. And there is no corruption. Because the one thing that really pulled my country down all these years was corruption. So I give you the authority to, if somebody from the internal revenues, customs would ask you even 10 pesos, shoot him. And I will not allow corruption. And we are doing it. Then the country is suffering from the onslaught of drugs. And one of the I made just 5 promises during the campaign, because we were just given in a public forums 1 minute and a half. So what can I say about my country? So I will stop corruption. I will suppress drugs. I will do away with criminality. And because I am not a bright economist, my grade in economics when I was in 3rd year was only 75. So there are so many bright people around. Of course, I have a Secretary Tugadi, the Minister of Art. He was my classmate in the law school. He was our valedictorian. He is already a billionaire, bright. So I got him. And all of the others, they're all rich. I'm the only one who doesn't have any money. Because I am not bright. I don't have the economic mind. 74, 75, that is the passing grade. Slowly, but I reached there. And my cabinet are all bright people, valedictorians, and me, just a struggling student. But the surprise of it all is that these bright guys, these billionaires, work for me. No, I did not have the money, I did not have the party. It's a very small one. Well, it's a party in Mindanao Island only. But in all of the areas in Mindanao, in the Moro dominated, the Muslim dominated, I got a landslide. Even outside, here I got almost 76% of the total workers overseas in the voting or the absentia voting. I got the, and I just promised that there will be no corruption. If you go to the Philippines, I do not allow the customs to open your bags. Anyway, when the baggages are deplaned, they usually pass through the underground warehouse where there are cameras. And if there are contrabands or prohibited items there, they will see it. So it reaches the conveyors. There's no need to open the bag. And the usual victim before the OFW. As I was mayor, we were just waving. And we salute. Sige, you. But the OFWs, the poor OFWs are really skinned alive there by opening the bus and getting something. So that has to end. That has to end. No touch, just look. Do not worry about bombs because if it will explode, that's the end of you, and that is the end of your worries though in life. You go with it. So, but they are very well inspected down. The underground cargo handling of the airlines. So these are the things that I would have wanted to read but I also, in my corruption, I fired even a cabinet member in front of the cabinet members in a meeting because he was lying. And I told him, you are lying. You are fired. Get out of this room. So I have fired also friends who worked for me since 1988 when I became mayor. I was first mayor in 1988 and stayed there for 23 years as mayor. And as a congressman, I never lost an election until I became president. And that is why I have this rare opportunity given to me by God to talk to you. What I can say is that there will be we will honor contracts. We will honor our obligations. That is in the Constitution itself, that there shall be no impairment of the obligation of contracts. So insofar as trade is concerned, I can assure you, what we sign and agree with you will be done. Even if we lose in the transaction, we will honor what we have promised. Philippines has always been known to not to honor contracts. No. This time, it's because many people would like to get hold of the contract, and if the commission is not big enough for distribution, they would suspend the contract. Nothing of the sort. I can live with my salary. It's a little bit small. But you know, there are officials in government receiving 2,800,000. I should be firing them before the end of the month. All of them. Because why? I am envy. Because mine is only 130,000. I do not sign any allowances. I live on my salary. And I have 2 families. That's the problem. So one half. My eldest daughter, first wife, is she's a lawyer. She's now the mayor. This is her second time to be mayor. Had she not consented to run in this election as mayor, I would not have filed my certificate of candidacy as president. Because I hated, leaving Davao. Because it's so good now that it might return back. But I'm very lucky that I have this bond of honor with my Muslim brothers. They respect my ancestry. so that I can talk to them. I can even invite them to join my cabinet. So these are the things that I guarantee to you. Everything will be all right. Everything will be followed. There will be no harassments. There will be no asking of money. It will be a truly honest to goodness transaction. And if you do not believe me, your ambassador, Anand Timbaya, he was my roommate. He's a Tauso. He's a Muslim. We stayed in one room. We never argued even half a minute. Roommates, and we love each other. So, we love you. Why? I'll tell you. Because it is of our national interest that the Gulf states who has provided employment and thereby contributed to the gross national product of my country. And you also help educate our people, the young Filipino, who do not have the means to finance their school. Their mothers and fathers are here working. And they send the money to the Philippines. Partly, the kind people of Qatar are also financing the education over here. And that is why it is of our national interest to see to it that you are stable, that there is no trouble, bugging, and we will stand by you. That's what I committed in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. It's because of the lives of so many people. And I said, I'm even willing, if you are in trouble, if you are short with manpower, I have a very disciplined military. And I can send them here. You will not have any trouble with them. The law-abiding, well-disciplined, and they can stay here. Just to send them to the borders. But I would like to ask you to just feed them, because we don't have the money to spend for the food. But give them shelters, and they will fight for you. I said, we will stand by you. If there is a need, we'll do it. I do not need the permission of America, NATO now. I am independent of them. And I will only protect where our interest lies. There are millions of Filipinos. You can be sure that if you need us, we will come. Do not worry about discipline. I said, my army is just like any other army. They're very disciplined. And they can fight our national interest and to protect and defend you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.